Hello again, Fish-A-Lots. A while back I did a reel review on the PISCIFUN Alijoz's 300 bait casting reel, and I explained what an awesome reel this is. I've been beating up this reel for about 3 years now. I've been catching everything with it, but I got a lot of questions from Fish-A-Lots out there asking, hey, should I go with the 400 size reel, which is even bigger than this one? In this video, I'll do an unboxing. I'll give you my first impressions of the 400, and then we'll compare it to the tried and true 300 reel, and I'll even try and save you some money along the way. So all right, Fish-A-Lots, stay tuned. Let's get into it. First up, let's just cover the unboxing of the Alijoz's PISCIFUN 400 fishing reel. I'll give you my first impressions. Again, I don't really like doing reel reviews if I haven't used the reels, but I have been using the 300 for, I think, actually over 3 years now, and so I feel confident enough to give you a quick insight on the 400. So first and foremost, you're going to hear me talk about this, about PISCIFUN, a lot in this video. They really do put some extra steps in with their products, and this is no exception. This comes with a very nice little reel bag here in case you want to bring this somewhere and travel with it. You put the reel in the bag, you could travel with it, keeps the reel safe. Nice little feature right there without even accessing the reel. Now, of course, we're going to open this up. Okay, you got your little instructions in there, and then this is it. So this is the PISCIFUN Alijoz's 400 reel right here, and first impression right here is this is a much bigger reel. And all right, Fish-A-Lots, so right off the bat, you're gonna notice a considerable size difference between the 400 and the 300 right here. And of course, that's obvious because this is a bigger reel than this reel is. However, I just wanna kind of point out the weight differences between the two and how that should weigh into if you wanna get the 300 or the 400. So this 300 reel, with all the features that we're about to discuss in both of these reels, comes in at a really impressive 11.3 ounces. And the 400 comes in at an also impressive 14.5 ounces. Now that's almost a 3-ounce difference between these two reels. So this reel here, the 400, is really advertised as like a musky fishing reel up north. So what I would advise you Fish-A-Lots out there is just be cognizant of the fatigue factor. If you could get away with 3 ounces lighter on this Alijoz's 300, I would do it, especially if you're fishing for a fish that's considered the fish of 10,000 casts. Fatigue absolutely weighs into your fishing, and so that might be a situation where you're looking at these two reels and you consider maybe the lighter option. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't really want to go with the lighter option because I want that extra torque and that extra power and all the stuff that comes with a bigger reel, I would say don't worry about it with this 300 size reel, because I have beat the ever-loving tar out of this thing with some huge, massive fish that are going to fight a lot harder than a muskie ever will, and this thing has lived up to the task for over 3 years now. And I've been fishing heavy weights, large baits, ripping currents, 80-pound plus fish in ripping tidal currents. I really put this through the stringer and never had a problem with it. Absolutely great. So in that type of situation, I would say that would be an area where I consider the 300 because I'm going to be casting a lot, and that 3 ounces could add up. Now again, I got to give PISCIFUN credit here. They make everything a little bit bigger. They put a little bit extra features in their reels, especially for the price point, which we're going to get to. But the gears are bigger. The torque is stronger. They make these thumb bars. There's extra features here that we're going to touch on, but that weight is pretty impressive considering these reels are slightly larger than the competitor reels. Okay, so this is a 300, but really it's much closer to like a 350 in between the 300 and 400 range. And this is a 400 with the weight of a 400, but this is also like a 450. It's between that 400 and 500 range. So you're getting all the benefits of a larger reel for lighter weight, and that's something to consider. And all right, now speaking of different fishing situations, let's talk about something that really does not go discussed out there too often, and it really could impact a lot of your fishing, and that's gear ratios and your inches per turn. Now, both of these reels are 6:6 to 1 gear ratio reels. I typically like to keep the gear ratios low because that keeps my torque high. So typically speaking, the higher you go in gear ratios, the lower the amount of power and torque you get in these reels. If you're fishing for anything else that doesn't swim at 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, something that could come right at you, and you really got to make up line fast, the 6.6 to 1s with the extra torque in them is absolutely what I would recommend. And all right, fish lots, if you really like this information, you like these types of tips and tricks that could save you money and catch a lot of fish, be sure to check out my new book, Catch More Fish by Fishing with Johnny Fish a Lot. I am super proud of this thing. I basically made this to be your field guidebook to take with you anywhere you need some fishing advice. I'll drop a link in the description below, fish lots. I know you're going to enjoy it. All right, let's get back to the reels. But for right now, let's now focus on the things that you should be considering if you're debating the 300 and the 400 size reels, and that is, of course, line capacity is going to be one of those big ones. Okay, now the 400 is going to weigh more because it's a bigger reel, and the 300 is going to weigh less, but the 300 is going to hold less line capacity than the 400, and the margin is pretty big. So for the 300 right here, 40 pounds of braid will get you 205 yards, which is actually pretty impressive. But check this one out. This is even more impressive. 40-pound braid on this one, the 400, will get you 306 yards. Now, I have a ton of tips on my YouTube channel how you can even get more line on these reels. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description below, but I could load these things up with plenty of line, and that's important for me because I find myself deep drop fishing for a lot of fish in my area. I live in the mid-Atlantic. There's some deep water where I fish. For this here, sometimes we're fishing 120 feet for fluke, for blackfish. It's a great reel for that. This reel right here is going to be even better if I am deep dropping, or if you are fishing in situations where you have a lot of current and you're fishing for big fish and those fish could get you in the current. The extra line capacity is absolutely great on both these reels. And again, giving credit to PISCIFUN here, everything is just a little bit bigger. Everything is just inching out the competition each way they go. So now those are just some of the considerations I would make whether you're debating the 300 or 400, and there's more considerations I'm about to cover. But first, let's cover what makes these reels so great, especially compared to a lot of its competitors out there. And a lot of that has to do with the absolute awesome construction of the reel. So this reel right here is absolutely anti-corrosion resistant all the way around. It's aluminum, the entire reel, and the platings are aluminum, the power handles are aluminum. So the entire internal compartments of these reels are all corrosion resistant. PISCIFUN once again went the extra step. They have about a gabillion ball bearings in these things to just make these things super smooth, as you could tell right there. And those are double shielded stainless ball bearings in each of these reels. So you have to worry zero about corrosion in the reels, which is super important. I have been beating this reel up in particular in a saltwater environment, and those extra components, that extra step to make these corrosion resistance as PISCIFUN did, is super important, not only for a saltwater angler or a fish-a-lot, but also for freshwater fish-a-lots out there. So freshwater actually has salt in it, right? Every freshwater body that you might be fishing in, whether it's a lake or river or whatever, has a level of salinity in it. And so when you get fresh water, quote unquote fresh water, on these reels and there's salt in there, it could damage the reels. So PISCIFUN making these reels both saltwater and freshwater compatible, basically totally anti-corrosion resistance, is super important. It'll save you a ton of money, a ton of headaches, and these things will keep fishing forever. All right, now with all the features that we discussed so far, let's talk about price point and why these things are even more amazing. So this reel right here currently comes in at the time of filming this under $100, which is astounding. And this reel right here currently, at the time of filming this, is $119 on PISCIFUN's webpage right here. I will say, go on to PISCIFUN's webpage, take a look. They always have some kind of discounts running, but keep an eye on the prices of reels that you're interested in, because despite of the discounts they're constantly offering, they do come out with some even better deals. Now, I could save you even more money on both of these reels if you're interested with this promo code FWJ18, Fishing with Johnny 18. See what I did there? Pretty clever. All right, so these power handles, again, all aluminum, really quite incredible, super smooth, and of course EVA foam handles right here, which I absolutely love. I fish with a lot of bait, clam, crab, catfish bait, carp bait, you name it, and you could really gunk up these handles. They wash off super easy and they never ever lose their grip. And of course, it takes away some of the weight on your reels, which I really, really love. I'm a big fan of EVA handles. The fact that this is a super tough power handle with the EVA is really right up my ball game right there, and I absolutely love that feature right there. So now more of the differences on the different types of features of each of these reels to consider is some of these extra things that PISCIFUN puts in these reels. Now again, I give credit to the company because they really do think of a lot of things for their fishing, and of course this is a thumb bar release right here. I hope you can see that in the camera, but basically both these reels are thumb bars. I'm a huge fan of thumb bars, especially with deep drop fishing, because you just have ultimate control all the time while you're dropping baits down, while you're setting baits, while you're jigging, a lot of different applications. Not to mention when you're casting, this is going to be ideal, whether you're fishing for largemouth bass, muskie, whatever. But this feature right here, you just saw I clicked it, the thumb bar release is really awesome. It's actually what drew me to this reel to begin with, is because a lot of times when you engage the spool there to release your line, you have to re-engage it by turning the handle just like that. But with a thumb bar release, you push it down, you click the thumb bar release, and you could do this with one hand. So you're fishing, thumb bar is disengaged, so the line goes out, you click that down and it re-engages. Just so simple. I absolutely love that feature right there. Now on this one, the cool feature not in the 300, for the 400, is the bait clicker right here. Really loud, really nice, ideal for fishing bait, live bait, or trolling. Right here. Now, if you watch my previous videos, okay, I've trolled with the 300 and I've trolled with really big mojos. We're talking big trolling applications. Big striper, heavy current, deep seas. This is what I was using the Alijos 300 for, and it did great. It handled umbrella rigs. It handled giant mojos, 34 and 24 ounce mojos on a tandem rig. That's over 40 ounces of lures on a tandem rig catching striper, and this reel handled it and handled it great. However, if you are fishing like that, if you're using big heavy lures, if you're trolling for some big fish, this reel is absolutely going to be way better. Again, I haven't used it, but just feeling it, the features in it, the bait clicker right here, you're absolutely going to want this 400 over the 300 if you find yourself with some heavy trolling tactics. And again, we're talking big mojos, big swimming baits, big plugs, you name it. This one's going to be your option just because it has a bait clicker. If you've ever caught a fish and forgot to put this bait clicker on a troll, you do that all of one time. Now, I absolutely love thumb bars. A lot of people out there are like, oh, I don't know about thumb bars because they could break or whatever. I've been using these reels. I've never had any issue with these thumb bars. I absolutely love thumb bars because it gives you ultimate control over the reel without needing two hands or fiddling around with it. You're simply holding the reel, you drop the thumb bar, you cast, re-engage. So the 400 reel does not have the thumb bar auto engage, and of course the 300 does not have the bait switch clicker or the bait feeder clicker, as Alijos calls it. So a couple of different features there for a couple of different applications of fishing, but both are really, really awesome. So now again, with all the features we talked about in these reels, right? The thumb bar release, the bait clickers, the extra size brass gears, the stainless steel parts, the drag in these is absolutely incredible. The 400 here comes in at 38 pounds of drag, which is just, ridiculous. But with all these features in this reel, for these reels to be around $100 each, if this one is even $150 if you don't buy it at the time of a sale, it's absolutely incredible value for money, and I gotta give PISCIFUN a lot of credit. Again, if you wanna get an instant 15% off, even on top of the deals they're currently running, go ahead and use that promo code FWJ18, and I'll try to save you some money. Another great sign of a good quality reel is that the company backs it up with warranties. So if you have any issues with these reels, you just contact the companies, they'll send you a brand new reel, no questions asked. And all right, if you enjoy value per money just like these reels, you'll really like this video right here where I review yet another reel, this time a spinning reel that does not break the bank, comes in at under $100 and has just as many awesome features as these two reels right here. So go ahead and check that out, Fish-A-Lots. I'll see you out there on the water.